This is the chilling story of how a chance encounter with a stranger led to a tragic death, and how the killer used plastic surgery to hide from justice in plain sight for years. She had her whole life ahead of her. But in March 2007, 22-year-old Lindsay Hawker's dream of teaching English in Tokyo turned into a nightmare. Lindsay Hawker was born in Coventry, England. A brilliant student, she graduated with first-class honors in biology from the University of Leeds. But Lindsay had a passion for travel and teaching. In 2006, she moved to Tokyo to teach English at Nova, Japan's largest private English school. She shared an apartment with 2 other foreign teachers and seemed to be living her dream. She had a basic schedule, going to and from work, going to a coffee shop now and then, pretty basic day-to-day routines. Everything was perfect for her, but on March 25, 2007, everything changed. It started with what seemed like an innocent encounter. Lindsay was approached by a man at a subway station. He introduced himself as Tatsuya Ichihashi. He was polite and shy. He claimed she was his English teacher. But Lindsay knew her students well, and she didn't recognize him. Politely, she told him he must have the wrong person and rode her bike back home. Lindsay forgot about the encounter, but Tatsuya couldn't stop thinking of her. He liked Lindsay so much that he started to follow her around, observing her with admiration. But keep in mind that he is very shy. He watched her while she is teaching. He knew that he wants to be with her, get to know her, so he figured out her schedule so that he can know her whereabouts. On a faithful day, Tatsuya followed Lindsay to her apartment, pleading for water and claiming he needed an English teacher to help him study abroad. It's weird how he would casually be in the same place as Lindsay. It was almost as if he was stalking her. But Lindsay was too nice of a person to suspect what was going to happen next. Feeling sorry for him, she let him inside. But she was cautious. She made sure her roommates saw him, just in case. A few days later, they met again at a cafe. There, Lindsay made a decision that would later cost her her life. She agreed to give him private English lessons. On March 29, 2007, Lindsay's roommates grew worried. It was getting late. Remember, she has a pretty basic schedule on a daily basis, and it was out of character for her to stay out after 10 without calling. She hadn't returned home, and she wasn't answering her phone. They called the police, who traced her last known location to Tatsuya's apartment. When officers arrived, they found a horrifying scene: a bathtub on the balcony, filled with sand and compost soil. Inside was Lindsay's lifeless body. She had been gagged, bound, brutally beaten, and SA'd. The monster who did this was gone. It was Tatsuya. Despite 9 police officers surrounding the apartment, Tatsuya managed to escape. The public was outraged. How could a killer slip through their fingers like that? People started to question the work ethic of police officers. Tatsuya became Japan's most wanted man. Police released photos of him, even one of him dressed as a woman, and offered a 10 million yen reward for information. But for 2 years, he vanished without a trace, nowhere to be found. Tatsuya was very scared of prison, so much so that he became a master of disguise. He would go an extra mile to not get caught. Desperate to avoid caught, he mutilated his own face, using a box cutter to remove moles. He used scissors to cut his lip and sewing needles to alter his nose. He did all this under no anesthesia. This was the only way he could go around Japan freely without being recognized. In the 2 years that followed after the horrific crime he committed, he moved across Japan, working in construction. He made enough money to even afford to undergo plastic surgery. But his arrogance would be his downfall. You see, Tatsuya felt hideous with all the mutilation and how he looked. He didn't like his appearance, and he thought plastic surgery would remedy this, and he would eventually get his old charms back. So he showed a plastic surgeon before and after photos of his face. A fatal mistake. The surgeon at first sight couldn't believe his eyes. At this point, Tatsuya thought people had forgotten his face since it's actually been 2 years. But he was wrong. The surgeon tipped off the police about the runaway murderer. On November 10th, 2009, Tatsuya's luck ran out. An employee on a ferry to Okinawa also recognized him and alerted authorities. After a dramatic chase, he was finally arrested. 2 years of running, hiding, and changing his appearance had come to an end. On July 23, 2011, Tatsuya Ichihashi was sentenced to life in prison for SA and murder of Lindsay Hawker. Lindsay Hawker's story is a tragic reminder of how quickly life can change. Her family fought tirelessly for justice, even reaching out to the Yakuza in their desperation. While Tatsuya Ichihashi may be behind bars, the pain he caused will never fade. Lindsay's memory lives on, a bright light extinguished far too soon. It took 5 years to eventually get this man sentenced. Do you think that Japan police were doing everything in their power, and hadn't they got tip-offs, would they have caught Tatsuya? If you found this story chilling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Let us know in the comments. What do you think about Tatsuya's ability to evade capture for so long? Stay safe.